Alright, welcome to G.I. Joe. Somewhat already in progress. You know I gotta be Scarlet. It's Scarlet Sprites. I gotta be Scarlet. Some really good art here for the opening sequence to kind of set the stage, especially for an arcade game where they're typically looking to just make money. So this is, a pretty easy game. It's kind of like Nom 75 on steroids. Scarlet runs, one button is my shot, the other button will launch those missiles. You can kind of see my inventory down there in the bottom left. And I can actually push up on the stick and you can see her move up a little bit, and then I can pull back and the same thing happens. Oof, like that one in the face. There's my missile. Yeah, just mindless fun, which is exactly what I'm looking for. It's the Friday after 4th of July, and the wife is at work, and I'm just looking to basically play a little bit of G.I. Joe. Kind of on the heels of Ikari Warriors, that one up yesterday. I wasn't really sure I was even going to post that. I wasn't feeling great about it. It was just kind of mindless, not a lot of production value, but I actually really liked hearing your guys' take on just kind of balancing life, gaming, and other hobbies. So G.I. Joe, yeah, I'm having a hard time really remembering specific episodes. I remember there was a two-parter once where Snake Eyes was missing, and I want to say it was either... I don't think it was Scarlet. It might have been Lady J. She found him, brought him back on a snowmobile. It's as much as I got. I remember Tomax and Zaymot. Here's these guys. You know, one of them has a scar. But yeah, G.I. Joe... I really liked it. A lot of kids were into that. It was an easy thing, an easy bonding experience. And I remember for my birthday the one year, my uncle came up huge and sent my mom the money so that I could go to Toys R Us. I think it was Jeffrey Bucks, and get the aircraft carrier. And that was ridiculous. I don't know how pleased my mom really was about that, considering how much room it took up. I think it was bigger than our coffee table at the time. And I basically had to clear a wall in my bedroom and just kind of set that up, and it was there for a while. Of course, you had the Admiral that came with the aircraft carrier. Shipwreck was a mainstay. And I ended up making my mom buy me another Shipwreck and paint a red cross on his hat, because I had seen that in one of the episodes, that one of them was a medic, and so I had to have that. Sadly, I think the aircraft carrier probably got sold for like $10 at a yard sale, which that really hurts looking back on that. Not that I have room for it now, or would be doing anything with it, but yeah, the box was gone day one, so unfortunately, if you're keeping it for collecting purposes, which as kids, very few of us were thinking about that kind of thing. A lot of my Nintendo boxes are from my childhood. That was more of just the love for artwork. What else is going on? Oh, I did snag Night Trap this morning, the special edition from Limited Run Games. I did grab that. It comes with the VHS tape with all the footage on it. Sega CD case, which actually I'll be interested in seeing, because I think the Sega CD case that they're including with that is what they're going to put out for the reproduction CD and Saturn cases. And I know there's some people that were really down on that, but I don't know, to me, I've got a lot of beat up cases and scratched up things, and I'm more concerned about the actual booklet and inserts and disc than I am, you know, the plastic shell. But it just looks crappy, and a lot of the hinges break on those. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm interested to see if they're of good quality. I suspect they will be. Also, speaking of limited run games and G.I. Joe, Saturday Morning RPG was another release that they did a couple weeks ago. And of course, the special edition of that included action figures that were a nod to G.I. Joe packaging, and I saw that and then of course had to have it. So that's on its way at some point. I hope that that comes relatively soon, because I'd really like to open that one up and you know, take a peek at all the contents and the action figures. More shit that I just will have a hard time getting around to playing, and my wife will be glad that there's yet another thing to put on display in the basement or put on a shelf. So you know, like I said, I had the aircraft carrier, a lot of the toys. I still have a lot of the actual action figures. I did find my hovercraft and I think it's the F-14 Tomcat. I can't remember what they're actually called in the show, but I have both of those. I found those in a storage bin that when I removed stuff from my aunt's house, as well as a number of figures. So at some point I'll have to go through that, but that's probably not happening anytime soon. I have time to play games. I'll be going through and organizing the garage.
Yo, Joe!
In the arcade, this was a 4-player game. You could have all 4 characters on screen and just, you know, mayhem, which is fantastic. And you can tell from the graphics and just the overall presentation, this is an early 90s game, so not, you know, it's not too dated, but yeah, it kind of is one of those things where arcades were starting to dry up, at least in my area. And in 1992, I was probably just starting middle school or maybe like 6th grade. And so the only place that I knew that had this was Chuck E. Cheese. And you're at that awkward stage as an adolescent, like you don't want to be seen at Chuck E. Cheese, but at the same time, you know, hey, the arcade at the mall doesn't have this, I want to play it. So I made quite a few appearances at Chuck E. Cheese just to basically play G.I. Joe. Is this the Baroness? Yeah.
It's showtime.
Also, a little insight into Chuck E. Cheese. I continued visiting and frequenting Chuck E. Cheese as an adult in my early 20s, because again, that was the only place I could really play a lot of games. There wasn't a lot of arcade options in the area. So you want to talk about something weird? Be a guy in your early 20s showing up at Chuck E. Cheese by himself. I also started disguising that a little bit by, you know, taking dates there and be like, hey, this will be cute and clever. Let's just go to Chuck E. Cheese and we'll play some games like we were kids. And yeah, a couple girls fell for that, and weeded some others out who weren't up for that. So what other Saturday morning cartoons? G.I. Joe was a big one, and I think Real Ghostbusters that had to have been my favorite. That I remember very specific episodes, and I've even watched a few since you know, moving into my 30s, and I've gone back and checked out a few that I remembered. There's one episode specifically where I know they talk about how they got the new uniforms. That's always a good one. I like that because it's like the continuity with the movie. I really appreciated that as a kid. There's another one, a train around.
Yo, Joe!
Alright, so that is G.I. Joe. Perfect stopping point for the Just One vlog. I'm probably going to go back and play a little bit of Thimbleweed Park on my own, but definitely was feeling a little bit of G.I. Joe vibe after some of the comments on the Akari Warriors video yesterday. Wanted to take this for a spin, record a little bit, and share with you guys. As always, thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you all next time.